In the vast golden grasslands of the African Savannah, the morning sun was just beginning to rise. The air was thick with mist and the scent of damp earth. Behind a dense thicket, Sheru opened his eyes for the very first time. He was only 3 days old. His world was tiny, just the warmth of his mother and his 2 small siblings. At that moment, he had no idea that one day he would rule this entire jungle. Sheru's childhood was spent playing. He and his brothers would constantly ambush each other, fighting with their tiny paws, and trying to let out a roar that sounded more like a kitten's meow. His mother, an expert hunter, watched them from a distance, occasionally flicking her tail to call them closer. This was the era when Sheru learned how to hide in the wild and how to sense the direction of the wind. But the jungle is not always kind. When Sheru turned 2, he and his brother were forced to leave the pride. This was the law of nature. They were now nomads. This was the hardest time of their lives. They had to survive while avoiding the territories of other dominant lions and hunting for themselves. There were many nights they slept hungry, but this hardship made Sheru strong. Around his neck, a thick, dark, and golden mane had begun to grow. He was no longer a cub. He had become a powerful young lion. In his 3rd year, Sheru and his brother decided the time had come. They challenged an old lion ruling over a vast territory. The battle was fierce. In a storm of dust and dirt, only the sounds of claws and teeth could be heard. Finally, Sheru's youth and strength prevailed. That night, Sheru stood atop the highest rock and let out his first true roar. The sound echoed through the entire jungle, signaling one thing: the new king has arrived. Sheru's reign lasted for many years. He defended his family countless times against hyenas and rival males. He witnessed harsh droughts and the return of the rains. When the rains came, he would sit on the wet grass, feeling the droplets on his face. His body now bore many scars, badges of his bravery. He was not just strong now. He was wise. He knew when to fight and when to remain silent. Time passed. Sheru had grown old. His golden mane was now speckled with white, and his walk lacked its former speed. One evening, a new young lion entered the jungle. Sheru knew this was inevitable. It was the circle of life. He fought, but this time his body could not support his spirit. He lost, but he lost with honor. Sheru left the territory and lay down under an ancient tree. The sun was setting, looking exactly as it had when he was born. He closed his eyes and smelled that same old scent of the earth. The king of the jungle was now sleeping, forever, but his story lived on in the winds.